What's fine in small numbers but terrifying in large numbers? Options. That's actually a really good answer. Choice paralysis is a hell of a drug. It's why we can look at a fridge or pantry stocked with food and say, there's nothing to eat, or look at a game library of hundreds of titles and say, there's nothing to play. I can't count how many times I'll order a Reuben sandwich at a restaurant, just because everything else looks so good I can't decide. Wall Street Bets would like to have a word with you. My relatives. I have a big distant family from my mother's side. Every time I visit them I discover 5 new nieces and nephews. I still haven't memorized the previous ones. Stop making new ones. Specifically, in-laws. Bills. How many do you know? Honestly, I get one bill and it stresses me out. Lol. They have a 53-man roster limit just like the other teams. A few moles are okay, but a mole of moles would be a problem. Can confirm, a mole of moles would weigh about half the mass of the moon or about 1% the mass of Earth. So about 40 times the mass of all the water on Earth. That would surely cause some problems. Fingers on one hand. Hands on one arm? Fun fact, I have more fingers on my hand than average. Well, I'm assuming the average is probably 4.9999999999999 because there are probably more people in the world missing a finger or two than possessing an extra finger or two. Yeah. More than a handful seems a bit much. Ladybugs. I was cleaning out an old barn and went up in the loft. As I was climbing up, I couldn't really see yet because it was so dark in the ground floor but crazy bright in the loft. I felt some small bugs banging into the back of my head. I turned around and there was like a writhing mass of ladybugs on the window frame. Absolutely freaked me out. I had the same thing while I was living in Germany for a while. I loved ladybugs as a kid, as you'd only see one every so often, and they were pretty. Then suddenly when there's literally thousands swarming around your windows. And the putrid stench when they get smushed. THW acceleration writhing mass is one of the most horroristic thing in the English language. My ping. Relatable. I live in a spot where I can only get satellite internet. Bad satellite internet. My average ping? 800. Also, 25 GB a month. I might add I love multiplayer games. Sigh. Geese. Have you ever been surrounded by a gaggle of Canadian geese? Shit is God-inducing. A repost of something that happened to me. I call it the goose incident and the epic dad pun. There was a Canada goose that had been handing around the front lawn of the hotel for days, giving surly looks to everyone he imagined might be harboring romantic thoughts about the female geese accompanying him. I was leaving the hotel the morning he went off the deep end. He charged some boy 8, who jumped back, dropped to the ground, and curled into a screaming ball. I just dropped my bag and jumped between them. I thought being significantly larger would stop this foolishness. Mr. Crazy Goose paused a second to reassess, then lowered his head, opened his beak, and resumed the charge at his new target. I have no idea where he got his knowledge of where to bite with a beak to effectively fight an adult male human, but his strategy seemed quite sound. Fortunately my attempt to snatch the incoming bitey bit was successful, but now I had hold of the beak of an angry goose, who was much stronger than I had imagined he would be. I was also concerned about the stories that they can break bones by whapping you with their wings. Or is that swans? I think it's swans. At the time, it seemed like it must be geese. To avoid such whapping I spun to the side, swinging the goose like some Olympic hammer throw. My intention was to swing him around and around until I could sidestep enough to slam him into a stacked stone column off to the side. However, his beak slid out of my hand after about 3/4 of a revolution, and he spun off like a goosey frisbee. Still victory, right? Nope, that sucker was way more comfortable flying through the air than I would have thought, perhaps because he does it regularly, under his own power. Wings came into play and he landed gently on his feet about 10 to 15 feet away, turned to face me again, and spread his wings for another charge. Then looked at the female goose to see if she was getting all this macho stuff. She seemed unimpressed. I interpreted her look as, "Have you gone utterly nuts?" He swung his head back and forth between us a couple of times, then gave a honk that I took to mean, "Well, I guess I showed you," and waddled off. I looked into my hand as Mom came sprinting out of the lobby over to the boy, accompanied by the desk guy a split second behind her. He had to have leapt over the desk. I see that the beak had not exactly slipped out of my hand, the outer layer had shed or something, and I had that paper-thin outer layer still in my palm. Hotel guy says, "Thank you, so much. We owe you for that." I hand him the thing in my hand and say, "Here's a bill." Unfortunately, I don't think he got it. But it was still epic. If you've got a problem with Canada Gooses, you've got a problem with me. Now let that marinate. People. Shakes anxiously. Goes double for children. Exes. Oh look, there's one of my exes at the bar. Oh look, there are 8 of my exes sitting together at the bar. All my exes live in Texas. That's why all of mine formed an evil league. 12 yo girls, them shits get in a group and you're FR fucked. I'm almost 22 and whenever I see a group of teenage girls I have like war flashbacks to middle and high school. Look at that high-waisted man, he got feminine hips. Bugs. Bethesda intensifies. Both software and insects work pretty well for this question. People who are going to have sex with you. Death by snoo snoo. Want to? That's not so oh, he said going to. Dolls. I dated a girl that had a porcelain doll collection and it was terrifying to walk into the room she kept them in and see a ton of dolls looking at you like they were about to come alive and kill you. Went on a date once years ago. Swung by her house to get something, she lived with her mom. Little pictures of Catholic saints peppered every wall surface. Hundreds of them. Dolls everywhere, low indistinct lighting, cloyingly stuffy, dirt on the wood floor and her mother's disembodied voice drifting down from upstairs. There was no second date. George. Fingers in butt. Yeah, too many can be a handful. Edit, thanks for the silver, kind stranger. Ants. Ants are never fine in any number. Burps. Just imagine if everyone around you started burping at the same time. It's a recurring nightmare for me. What a specific nightmare. +1 for unexpected. White blood cells. Of course, to be fine, the number can't be too small either. Duck-sized horses. Ah, there it is. Horse-sized ducks. Seeing a military plane fly over a big city. Tell that to Hiroshima. Police at my door. No amount of police at my door is a good amount of police at my door. Either someone's dead or someone's going to jail. Children, especially babies. My blood sugar. I'd say small numbers under 85 or so can cause their own nightmares. Homework. I like a little challenge, but when it's piled high it just gets overwhelming. Area 51 Raiders. Farts. Funko Pops with mouths. Funko Pops with mouths. FTFY. Corpses. Yeah, the orgies can get a bit boring after a while. Seagulls. Responsibilities. Cockroaches. 0 is fine. More than 0 is fucked up. Chickens. Have 3 of those motherfuckers, you're good, but have 1,000? All you can hear is cluck. Edit, my most upvoted comment is about chickens. Well, fuck me. Rentgens. As long as you are in that not bad, not great area, you should be fine. Debt. Kids clapping to a song. Humans. Kids. Spiders. I opened our garage door once and accidentally broke open a baby spider nest and the wave of air poofed a million tiny baby spiders into my face, mouth and hair. Worst experience of my life. I have war flashbacks about it still today. Pregnancies. FCKING. Dwarf. Hamsters. At least in my traumatic childhood experience, just FYI, this bloody story may make some readers uncomfortable. It's a bit long, too. But anyway. So one time my stepsisters bring home a bin of adorable dwarf hamsters and forget to separate males and females. They have little hamster hanky-panky and multiply like mad, popping out babies like tiny rodent machine guns. Soon there are too many to contain. They escape and make our gaming room into their hamster love nest. Months pass and the evidence of months of horny hamster humping emerges from beneath every sofa, every bed, every counter. Baby hamsters everywhere. I got to bottle feed a bunch of infant hamsters and it was every kid's heaven, at first. There was just one problem: this breed was notorious for violent males. It started with finding cute little fuzzy surprises, plucking adorable hamster babies from obscure places, like the world's cutest, fuzziest Easter egg hunt. It ended with every room in my house being a bloody war zone for fallen hamster soldiers murdered by stronger, hornier males. Carcasses under the sofa, the bed, the counter. Some are outside and half-eaten by dogs. Friends stop coming over because the smell is overwhelming and this is too traumatizing for children. Imagine being a child in this scenario, paralyzed and crying under the covers every night when you hear scratching and pain squeaking right under your bed, or in the wall beside you. Some manage to get up there in your bed. You wake up to dead bodies everywhere. I didn't sleep for months. Eventually we catch them with homemade cages and offer them to a pet store for free. They think we're being generous. Hey, no, but we'll let them think that. It's their problem now. So anyway, moral of the story, hamsters in those numbers aren't cute anymore. Unvaccinated kids 1 or 2 would probably die off, but when it's 15 they would spread the diseases they have before their death.